we're gonna go outside because the sun is shining. It's a little chilly, but since there's sun, I would like to sit out there, and the puppies want to sit out there. Well, they want to run. So we're gonna go outside. We're gonna go outside and have some fun. Good morning! We finally are sitting outside. I have my chair while the puppies are playing, and I already drank all my coffee, so I hope that you guys are enjoying yours right now. Guys, enough. Well, apparently today's Kilo's day. Sitting outside was a good idea, but you saw how that turned out. So I came upstairs and Kilo decided she didn't want to hang out with the shenanigans either. And here we are. Are you ready? What are we going to talk about today? You don't know. You're too much. Okay. Come here. Right here. Oh. The scratch on my face is from Kane's paw. I got swiped in the side of the face. So, just if you're wondering, that's what that is. As you can tell, it's laundry day. I am currently washing comforters, which is a freaking all-day job when you have 2 California kings. I feel really ill-equipped to talk about this conversation topic that I picked for today because I feel like I don't have much experience with it, but I guess that I have my experience, so that's what I'm going to share. What I wanted to talk about was kind of living in community with people, having a network of women for women and men for men with whom you share life with. I was like really excited to talk about this topic. I was taking a shower, I was thinking of all these things I wanted to say, and you know, my mind was running a million miles a minute, and I hope that I can get it all out in less than 20 minutes this time. Then like the closer I got to like getting ready to actually start taping, I like started getting really self-conscious because I'm like, oh, you really don't know what you're talking about. Like, you don't have these great friendships. You don't have what it is that like you're talking about, right? When I was in high school, I had like this really great group of friends. We did everything together. It was kind of like girl power, and you know, we always hung out. And then I went to college and I started using and lost that as a result of, you know, consequences of my use. Those people no longer were important to me, and all I cared about was getting high, so they kind of really didn't fit in the life that I was living. So I remember when I got clean and seeing that all of those girls were still like pretty good friends, even if they lived in different parts of the country, they were flying out to see each other and, you know, just had like these really strong friendships. Jealous. I guess jealous is the word. I was jealous that I didn't have that, and I didn't feel like I was ever gonna find that again. I had tried a little bit in Narcotics Anonymous to find what felt like, you know, these true friendships, because I see a lot of that in NA too. You see these groups of girls that are just like, you know, hardcore best friends, and they do everything together, and I just couldn't find that. That wasn't my experience. Granted, I'm sure a lot of that had to do with my own lack of effort putting in, and if you watched my last vlog on last week about like positive affirmations and kind of what brought me to my knees when I was using with the self-seeking attention from others, particularly men, I think that I tricked myself into believing that I didn't need women because I was finding all this attention in men. I didn't need a group of women around me because, you know, women are catty and women are this and women are that, and I just don't get along with women. I said that so many times, and so not only was I lying to other people, but I was lying to myself about why I didn't have relationships with women and why I was unwilling to put forth the effort to get that. It seems like I'm able to have relationships with men much easier than women. And so, like, for a perfect example, one of my best friends, Kyle, is a man. The one thing that's taught me, though, is that men and women are capable of having a very close friendship without it being anything other than a platonic friendship. So I'm grateful that I was able to learn that through, my friendship with Kyle. And he's really the only, male that I speak to on a very regular basis. And then I've got some, like, internet friends that I always say, like, oh, my friends live in the internet, because with being on social media so much, I spend a lot of my time on Facebook and Messenger. And so one of my friends that I made through the dog page, she and I have become very, very, very good friends. And I'm so grateful for the internet for bringing that friendship to me. I would love if she, like, lived here in Ohio, but she doesn't. And so we have to make do with what we have. And so I've gone out to visit her. She's come out here, and she's coming out here again this summer. It's been, really cool to build that with somebody, especially a woman, and actually enjoy that. And I thought, well, I kind of would like to have that here in Ohio. Like, how do I get that here? And it's funny because Danielle, my friend that lives in Maryland, she told me when I quit my job, she was saying how I'm gonna still need that, like, human interaction, because being at home so much, I'm not gonna have that. And I was like, no way, like, I hate people. I am totally fine being with the dogs 24/7. And Jeffrey, when he comes home, and going out every once in a while with some couple friends that we have or whatever. It's so funny because I didn't realize just how right she was, and that, like, humans are built for community. Humans are built to be surrounded by other humans and to have relationships with them. And so very quickly I started realizing that once I quit my job, my social life started blossoming, because yes, I had more time and stuff, but before, when I was working, I had been peopled out. I always say, like, I get peopled out during the week. I had dealt with people enough during the week that when I got home, at night and on the weekends, I didn't want to hang out with anybody else. Like, I didn't have it in me to go spend time with other people. That seems exhausting to me. And having all this time and being able to go hang out with women more has been such a blessing. It's not something that I ever expected, and it's not something that, even if I became social, that I really thought I would like. But I have found a group of women and it just so happens to be that they go to my church. But I've been, in mom's group, and I've been hanging out with a lot of these women that I've gotten to know a little bit. And I feel like such a creep saying this, because I know some of you guys are going to be watching this, and it's like, oh, I'm a total creep. But I really like you guys, and I really like that I feel part of, and I feel wanted, and I feel like I have found my tribe. I found my group of women who surround me and support me, and you guys watch my videos. But just being part of a group of women that support you and, like, want to help you grow, not just in whatever business venture it is that you're doing, but, like, personally and spiritually, that's immeasurable. And it's funny because Jeffrey just said to me the other day, he said, I'm so glad you found a group of strong women to surround yourself with. And it's so true, because I actually, like, enjoy it now. I actually think that the first time I really realized that this was the group of girls that I wanted in my life was when I had a miscarriage in December, and I know it sounds like I hate that it sounds like I'm knocking NA. This is just that's the experience I have to compare it to. So, okay, Kilo. Goodness. A bunch of women from my church and this group of girls reached out to me and, was checking on me and seeing how I was doing. But literally not one girl that I've known for over 5 years ever even said anything to me. And I think at that moment I realized that I think that was kind of just, like, finally what I needed to understand and be okay that I didn't have whatever it was that I was looking for in that group of people. It gave me the opportunity to open up and look for it elsewhere. A group of women got together last night kind of to go over something that our church is going through. It's called Core 52. It's a book about 52 verses in the Bible, and the idea is that you memorize them 52 verses by the end of the year, a verse a week. And I have hardly done any of it, but I still went anyway because I knew that it would be a good opportunity to continue to hang out with these women, that I see something in them that I want, and I see something in them that I would like to become. And so I went last night kind of begrudgingly at first, to be honest, because I had kind of a long week without Jeffrey. I was lonely and sad, and I missed him. And then someone came over to see the dogs, and that's always exhausting for me. And so I was like, I'm just not going to go. And then she texted me like, hey, just a reminder, blah, 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 whatever. And so I was like, all right, like that's the sign that I needed. I'm going to go. And I did. And it was like 4.5 hours of laughing and good conversation and being surrounded by women who actually care about what it is I'm doing and vice versa. And I noticed when, like, my vlogs are long, like I post a lot of stuff, and dogs aren't everybody's favorite thing or whatever, and that's great. When one of the women in particular said, there was this thing that you said in your first vlog, and like, explaining what it was that I was talking about, and I was like, wow, like she actually really watched it for, was paying attention, wasn't just letting it run to help me get the views that I need, which that's great too. You guys can do that too. But it was kind of like in that moment that I thought, okay, so they want me here. They want to be a part of my life. This is finally it. And it feels so good just to know that I'm finally living in and with a group of people who have like-minded views, and we're kind of all going in the same direction. We want the same sorts of things in life. And even if you don't want the same exact things, like, we're all willing to help each other get it. And that has been such an odd feeling. And like I said, I still feel like a super creep, because it's like, oh, everybody thinks like, oh, you're so popular. You have so many friends. You have, all these dogs and all this, all these people just love you, love you, love you. But there's a difference between like adoration and friendship. And the great thing about all of you guys, especially all my supporters, I know that I could literally message any single one of you guys and get help if I needed to vent, if I needed to ask a question, if I needed to talk about something. 100% I would feel comfortable doing that. And I think that's what's so great about the social media side of it, is that you can get help from anyone anywhere. And I've had that for a while, but to have it in the flesh and to be able to go over to somebody's house and get to know their family and see their children as they're going to bed and watch kids grow up. And like I said, it's only been, a few months. More women have been over to my house and interested in my life and getting to know me than the last 5.5 years in Narcotics Anonymous. And I don't want it to seem like I'm bashing Narcotics Anonymous, because I'm not. I just didn't find what it was that I needed there, and I finally found it in my church community, because these are women that I wouldn't have had a chance to get to know otherwise. And once having had just even a tiny taste of it, I'm like, oh, I can't imagine going back to the way that I was before, isolated all the time. And even though I didn't think I cared really at the moment, and that like I was okay with that, life is so much more fulfilling when you do it with other people. A lot of times I would go, in my making attempts to like make friends with people, I would go places when invited or whatever, and I still always kind of felt like an outsider. I always felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I just felt weird. To finally be somewhere and to not feel like that, and to feel like I have something to offer, and that I have something to learn, and that I'm wanted, and not only just that, but that I want to be there. That's the biggest difference. Before, it was always counting down until I could leave to go home, waiting until I could find an excuse. And literally last night at like 11 something, I was finally like, okay, I have to go because I have to go to sleep and I'm an old lady. But I didn't want to leave. I wasn't like just waiting to get out of there. And that's such a different experience and such a different feeling for me, that I just am feeling dumbfounded and just so surprised by it. And it feels so good. The thing that I like about what we've found is that like all the women that I'm becoming close with, like Jeffrey is friends with their husbands, and they go and do man church, and they do things together. They, play softball and basketball, and it's just really cool that in the end we can still all come together as families and do family things together. And just having that sort of tight-knit community within this large world that we live in, that has been so just amazing. I want to hear about your guys' friends. Who is it that you really enjoy spending time with, and that holds you up, and that you hold up and support? And if you feel like you don't have that, I challenge you to make an effort to find that. I feel like we're missing out so much on life when we don't have that, and I didn't even realize it. I'd really like to hear about your guys' experiences. I would like to hear what it is that has worked for you when getting to know people, because it's not easy. It's uncomfortable sometimes still. Even though it feels right, I still sometimes feel awkward, like, oh, was that just too much? Did I say, the wrong thing? So many sorts of questions that we ask ourselves when we're around other people and we feel like we're trying to give a good impression. I'm surprised by where I ended up finding myself and my place in the world today, but it makes me know without a doubt that all of the failed relationships that I've tried in the past, that those happened, or didn't happen rather, for a reason. I was supposed to find these people that I'm experiencing life with now, and I wouldn't have found them without having gone through that. I feel like I didn't adequately express what it was I was trying to say, so I think that the whole moral of my story is that community is important, and I hope that you guys find people who believe in you and want you to succeed the same way that my friends do in me.
Mm-hmm.